This is 2017, paper 1. We'll look at the whole of question 1, which includes some a question to do with memory and some reasoning about why they might need GPUs, graphical processor units. So let's have a look at that first, because it will lead us into some more operating system questions, which is part of Unit 2. So an architect firm specializes in designing skyscrapers. The firm uses high-end computers with high-performance CPUs, GPUs, and large amounts of RAM. Give one use the firm might have for GPUs. So you don't want to just define a GPU. We need to talk about it. They're designing skyscrapers, they're architects, and obviously it's good to know a little bit about different areas of business, which hopefully some of your background knowledge will be able to help you with that. So they'll need to, of course, probably render 3D models with some realism, which of course is very intensive in terms of shading, colouring, the polygons, the positions, all that involved, and also just to run the CAD software is quite intensive. So either of those points will get you 1 mark. Next question 2 is describe what is meant by the term RAM. So this is always good to give a definition and then go a bit further. So you can say it's random access memory. You should know that from GCSE, that's 1 mark. You can say this is a form of primary memory, that it is used to store programs, so instructions and data. Programs, I'll put instructions and data currently, that's important, in use. So that's enough to get your other mark. You can also talk about its volatility when the power is switched off. Part 3. State one characteristic a high performance CPU might have. Well, of course, multiple cores will do. That'll get you a mark. You might also talk about a high clock speed, such as over 3 or 4 gigahertz. You might talk about, the level 1, 2, and 3 cache, which is 4, 8, 16 megabytes. You might talk about large cache, which can help the pipelining along. You might just talk about pipelining as well. So either of those will get you 1 mark. Now we get on to the operating system part of the question, and it talks about each computer has a multitasking operating system installed, which is of course Mac OS, Windows, Linux, Unix, and the like. State the name of and describe 2 methods that the OS can use to divide the contents of RAM. So the first one, of course, is paging. Second one, I would go for segmentation. Description of paging, that memory is divided into fixed units. Memory is divided into fixed units of size. And segmentation, it's variable size. So memory is divided into variable sizes according to its contents. And that's obviously 1, 1, 1, 1, 2 marks, 2 marks for each of that. Mark each for description. And the final part of the question is explaining, giving an example why the architect firm's computers use operating systems capable of multitasking. So again, you must relate your answer to the question about the architect company. Make sure you get that point in there. So multitasking allows the user to run more than one program at once. So as multitasking Tasking allows user to run more than one program at the same time. You might put e.g. CAD software and a browser. And email, and an email client like Outlook or Gmail or something. And of course that's then your 2 marks. And it does go on to talk about a LAN and firewall. So we'll just talk about this briefly here, just to finish off the question. So computers in the office are connected to a LAN, connected to the internet. The LAN is set up in a client-server network. So now we're into the area of networks and client-server networks. You can see they're threading in different areas of the syllabus into one question, which is quite common. Give one advantage and one disadvantage using client-server rather than peer-to-peer. So obviously one advantage, centrally administered. Everything is can be controlled in one place. Be careful not to give the inverse as an answer. So centrally administered, but can be expensive because you need a servers perhaps, and cabling. So that's 2 marks. The LAN is connected to the internet via a firewall. Describe the term firewall. So it can be a hardware, a piece of hardware, which is more expensive, or software, or both. That filters and blocks. So essentially it monitors the traffic, packets of data. You can do deep packet analysis, going in and out of the network. It's only 1 mark, so that's probably overdone it. State why the architect's firm would use a firewall. Well, obviously, a simple one is to prevent unauthorized access to their network, or equally might restrict where their employees can go in terms of websites, etc., or services they can use, such as music streaming on Facebook and social media sites, to keep them on task and keep them busy at the architect's firm. And that's the end of question 1.